In this video, I'm going to introduce you to AutoCAD's object snaps. Object snaps are a means in which you can be a more precise draftsman. They allow you to snap to certain positions on the screen based on objects that are existing. The icon to turn on and off object snap is along the status bar here on the bottom. On my screen, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 icons over. And I'll show you a little bit about how this works. If I want to draw a line, for example, and I want to snap to the center of this circle, what I would do is enter the line command, and then if I hover over the edge of the circle and I left click, it will snap to the center of that circle. Okay. And I can draw a couple more lines. Now also, you'll find that when you start off AutoCAD, certain object snaps will be turned on. Endpoint is one of the object snaps that is typically on. You'll notice that if I hover, I'm not clicking on anything, I'm just setting my cursor over objects, it is snapping to certain lines or certain positions on those lines. It's going to the endpoints. Okay, so we've done center and endpoint. If you want to try other ones, what you can do is go down to that icon, right-click, and you'll see a whole list of them. We can try one for midpoint, for example. All right, if I draw a line from here and I want it to be at the midpoint, you'll notice that there's a yellow rectangle or a yellow triangle that appears, and I can snap to that. Right-click on this icon. If I want to go to quadrant, I can turn that on, and I'll draw lines from the quadrants of my circle. You'll find that you probably don't want to have all of the object snaps turned on, but use the default ones and then turn on some special ones that you seem to be using frequently. Let's try perpendicular. So I'll draw a line from here, perpendicular to that line. Right, nearest, this is one that I would only use if you need it for a special condition, because it will snap to anything that you happen to be on top of. So it's maybe a less precise tool, but it has its usefulness in certain instances. And I'm going to start to turn a few of them off. Okay, quadrant. We'll try one called tangent. Right. If I make a line that's tangent to a curve, looks like I turned it off. I'll turn it back on. I can hover over the curved object and it will make a tangent line. I can also snap to a node point. So for example, if I was to divide this line into several pieces or several sections, segments, I'll use the divide command to do that. I select it and I'll divide it into 5 segments. Little node points have been generated along that line. Now I can't see it because I need to adjust one of my settings. There's a setting that's called PD mode, and it controls the graphics for node points. Okay, that's set to 3. If I change it to 2, they look like that. All right, now if I use my object snaps, I can add node, and it will snap to those. Now they're different than intersections or endpoints. So if you find it's not snapping to a node point, you want to make sure you've turned that object snap on. All right, I'm going to make a little piece of text. TXT. And for the text, I'll zoom in here a little bit. It has something called an insertion point. So if I'm using my object snaps. Up over here. When I go down here to my object snaps, I'm going to turn on the object snapped for insertion. And now when I draw a line, as you can see, when I hover over it, it's going to snap to the insertion point. There it is right there. Okay. Zoom out. So generally, if you left click on object snap, you turn off all of the object snaps, and if you left click so that it appears with a blue background, all the object snaps are currently. So there are a few others, but I would say that those are the most commonly used ones. You can go ahead and play around with some of the others as well.